Hi everyone. Thanks everyone for joining in. We're gathered here today to witness these two men talk about crypto. Yeah, exactly. No, so my name is Mark. If you haven't met me already, I'm the president of the Australian DeFi Association. We're here at CloudTech's offices and you've been all marveling at the wonderful surrounds that we've got here. I've still got to learn a lot about it. I'm sure that Andrew, Liam, Mandy and everyone can teach us more about what's going on. All of this space is, it's a really cool venue to do meetups. And even with the heat, it's okay. You know, it's okay. Perfect. I mean, they can't see on the camera here, but it is boiling, but it's great. It's like we're in warm weather. So if you missed out on token...
It's like Bikram yoga.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, Rose has got a good term for that. So we're going to do, what was it? It was... Bikram, beers and Bitcoin will be the next session, and Liam will be your yogi for that, I believe. But before we begin, I'd like to just pay our respects to not the Gadigal, it's the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and on the lands on which we gather, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and future. We've got a really fun-filled event on today. We've got some cool panelists that are here. And before we get into it and the Aus DeFi updates, I want to pass over to Andrew Sallabanks, who's, how long have you been at CloudTech now?
6 weeks, 7 weeks.
Okay, so he's a veteran in crypto world. So please, give us some updates.
Thank you, Mark. Look, on behalf, you get a round of applause. Look, on behalf of the CloudTech Group, I just wanted to say a few words to welcome everybody to our NFT gallery. For those of you who don't know me and weren't at the last meetup, my name's Andrew Sallabanks. I am head of strategy and operations at the CloudTech Group and have been so for, 6.5 weeks now. Look, I think at the CloudTech Group, we're taking the opportunity to look at blockchain opportunities broadly. And the space that you're sitting in is an example of that. We're kind of proud of what we've done here. And it's a space that we want to use for meetups like this and to sort of have meetups and meet new people and talk about new ideas. I came from a TradFi background, but I'm really enjoying the vibe and the community feel that comes with being in this space. I think it's been great to meet Mark and meet lots of people at the last meetup who are having different ideas and are collaborating on stuff. And so hopefully we can continue to build that out. In terms of other things that we're doing at the CloudTech Group, we've got a range of sort of things that we're looking at, which will they'll be center about sort of linked products. This is one. Liam's going to talk about some of the others later. There's going to be some financial stuff. There's going to be some non-financial stuff. I can see a number of CloudTech people around. I'm not going to embarrass them by getting them to put their hands up, but we know who they are. And so look, at any point over the evening, if you've got questions, feel free to come to me or come to any of the other guys and we can hopefully answer those questions. But look, I will hand you over back to Mark and the panel. And look, I look forward to hearing what everybody's got to say.
So much. We're all inclusive here, folks. Everyone gets hand claps. Can I get my clicker person? Thank you. Oh.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It could be decentralized. You can have a click each. So this is, so we always run the same kind of formula in different cities where there's like different, it's updates first, talk from the sponsor of the event, the venue, and then we get to like the talks, the interviews, the panels. We don't always have panels, but it's been a while, so I'm looking forward to, especially Trent, with whatever he's got to say, because it's recorded, which is going to be great. That was a cough laugh, by the way, if you guys didn't hear that. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. QR code, if you didn't already have it, it's a link tree from Aus DeFi, so the Discord, the meetups. Please come in, guys, if you want to, yeah? Okay. I found more CloudTech people. We'll get it, yeah. Oh, sorry.
I'm going to get them. No, you tell me when you want to.
Go to the next slide, please. Next one. And then you can go get him. Yeah, okay. It's all rehearsed here, folks. We'll just cut it out and edit. There's some AI tools where you just basically, you don't even have to do the edit, you just cut out the words. So as I'm talking, if I want this cut out, I'll just delete the words and it cuts the clip. Amazing. The last Aus DeFi event in Sydney, we had some updates from the team at Veiled, who are doing, if you want to lend with your crypto, if you want to get loans, you can actually do that. We're at Stone and Chalk there's Liam, who was at Stables, but I think as of Monday, we'll be working with Coinbase. Not this Liam, another Liam. And then Priscilla, who was speaking at ETH Global. So we had the ETH Global event a few weeks ago. So it was the first time it was in Sydney. I wish they actually spent more time to actually gear it up and ramp it up in terms of the marketing. We could have done a lot more, but it was still a really good first event nonetheless. Next slide, please. The last Melbourne event that we had was over at Greythorn, so we'll do something with them each quarter. Hopefully we can do an event each quarter here. The next event for us, if you're around next month in June, we'll probably do it at Upside Down. So I think it's a couple of really good places to do these meetups at. We had Andrew, so the good-looking man that was here before. He was there last, so proof of panel. I have, oh no, sorry. And then there's Will and then, no, okay. So we had some really good talks. There is a replay of this, so I recorded it. So yeah, you'll get to see what everyone kind of spoke about there. So that was Melbourne. Let's go to the next one. Perth, the grumpy looking gentleman on the right-hand side is my colleague. So Arturo, I love you, but man. And it was a really good panel. It was at the University of Western Australia. They had, it was like, NFTs, gaming, future of crypto, some really good, interesting talks that were there. Dirk Bauer, Lucy from Westpac, and a few others. So that's that one. Brisbane, we had an event at Hopgood Gannon. So they do some cool stuff in the legal space. They're helping out our friend Harry with some of his fights that are actually kind of public in the crypto space with the banks and I think Airwallex. And this is not secret stuff. It's out there. He's putting it out, right? So anyway, Hopgood are a great space. We're going to do some stuff with them next month as well. So they do a lot of legal accounting advisory kind of work over there. And this was their student folks. So really interesting stuff. Let's get to the next slide. ETH Global. So here's some of the stuff here. You might recognize Anthony Sassano, one of your fellow Melbourneites, talking on stage at the Pragma event. A hackathon, 36 hours of people, which is, great. I'm sure there was a shower there, but maybe not. So I don't know what it was like. Maybe. Give it a few more minutes over here. We'll match it. So it was really good there. We'll get to the next one so you can just see. We just always do this, like just to show you some of the slides, and we'll make this available. We'll go to the next. More of ETH Global. So they're in, if you haven't been to Sydney, there's multiple vantage points that you can see the bridge. Some more talks. I don't know who's there on that stage, but a lot of dudes. It'd be great to get more balance to it and stuff. But no, it was a really good event, and a lot of really interesting insights from there. So next one, I think it's, oh yeah, there you go. You got merch, which is important, right? Like if you want to keep the buzz about the space. But Daniel Barr. And I forget the lady's name, and I think she was from Consensus. So there was like some really interesting stuff that was being talked about and created, and a lot of great networking. A lot of people did fly in for this, so we appreciate that. I think it'll just get bigger, so it's really good. And now that we've got more Aussies flying overseas and moving overseas and stuff, there's going to be more of this connection back to Australia, which is great, and the merch. Next. So this one here, we have an AI tool that we've built that does summaries. It takes the transcript from this stuff. You don't have to use it just for that, but we use it for the transcripts. We use it for a lot of other kind of strategy type things. And it gave us some background on like what did people speak about? What were the key themes? And so Alex, they presented Bitcoin-backed loans, Liam Thompson, not this Liam, on their stablecoin wallet, USDC, MasterCard. You can buy your bread in Bitcoin if you are USDC, not Bitcoin. But you can buy with crypto, importantly, which is one of the things that's a knock on this space. You can't do this, you can't do that. We can now. What else is there? So all this laundry list of things we can't do, we're just using it to bring back better technology into the traditional finance space, which is great. Next slide. And here's an example. So this is our tool, shameless plug, you're welcome. So I'm typing in like, give me a summary of the last event. And so it'll whir away, it goes into the documents, and it gives me those like dot point kind of summaries. If anyone's interested in using our AI for what they're doing, let's have a chat. We'll go to the next one, the next shameless plug. Another one that I could do is I fed in a description, well, I asked it to basically describe the style and tone. This is one of the most interesting things I'm using now. Whenever you get these talks or you've got documents that you've written, if you wanted to write in the style of you ask it to describe the tone and the style and use quotes, and I gave it the meetup that we were talking about. So it goes, well, Mark's informal, humorous, questionable, engaging, uses jokes and lighthearted voice. Alex is more serious, technical focus, focuses on specifics. Chandra, who was there as well, style's not directly quoted, but his tone of voice can be more accurately described as, what does it say there? Confident, sales-oriented, and he is. Liam Thompson, anyway, it skips it, so that's just an animation there, but we can talk more about that. But if anyone wants to get really a strong prowess with AI, I think it's help coming from the blockchain space because we look at it in a more privacy-focused manner, because if you're using ChatGPT, it's training on your data by default. So just think about that before you put stuff in there. But it's also great. Sam Altman, love you. Let's get to the next slide. And then, yeah, this is something where it's actually talking about all the different people that have spoken. What kind of meetup is Aus DeFi? So for the people that are here for the first time, yes, it's informal and conversational. It's very community-oriented, educational, informative. This is what we set out to do. We wanted to be this middle ground between the builders, the people that are new to the space, to talk about things pragmatically. There's a lot of noise in the space, and underneath the headlines, that's where the real kind of truth matters. It's very inclusive, visionary for some people that are here, and yeah, we talk about blockchain and AI, and if you don't know, blockchain actually helps AI more than people realize, and it will, because we're going to need to do things like prove that humans are part of the process. So you'll see blockchain there. You're good? Sweaty?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, there you go. It's a good spot. If anyone wants to take turns, the tone's enthusiastic, it's welcoming, confident, very encouraging. So what I want everyone to leave with here today before we get to the panel is something in your network. You've added new connections, you've got new ideas, you've got questions. It's a very welcoming community. We've only been in for 2.5 years, and yet we get to do all this amazing stuff thanks to meeting amazing people around here. So thank you all for coming down for your second, third, fifth, first time. And we'll get to the next slide. And I think we're going to get to the talk. So yeah, if you want to learn more about the AI tool, you can scan that code, or you can just come talk to me. And I think we're just going to set up for the panel. So that's enough rant from me. I don't know if that was 10 minutes or so. But if I can get our panelists to come on down. Where are we all? Oh, okay. So you get this one.
Thank you.
And I'll give you guys your...
Chuck it over here. Oh, I don't know if I can touch the bottom. Thank you. Oh, no. I'll just grab it here.
Alrighty. You guys get to share. So I don't know who's first, but you'll have to pass this around to the camera can hear.
Share.
Debbie's special.
Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, thank you. So my name's Debbie. For those who don't know me, I've had a few chats with a few people, but it might be good for the panel just to understand how many are new to crypto. Put your hands up. No one. No. Do you work in crypto? Yep. Are you a founder, builder? Oh, okay. So gauging your responses, you might not need to go back to Crypto 101. But let's introduce the panel. These are well-seasoned crypto gentlemen, as I will call them. So introducing Trent Barnes from Primal Capital and Zerocap, Liam Bussell from CloudTech, and Ben Simpson from Collective Shift. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
I might just do a quick round, introduce yourselves, what you've been doing or what your business is. That would be good.
Awesome. My name's Ben Simpson. I'm the founder of Collective Shift. So we run a crypto research company for the retail. So we provide investment analysis to about 1,000 members globally, and also to CoinSpot, SwiftX, Caleb and Brown. We sort of power a lot of their research. I've been doing full-time crypto for about 7 years, and have about a team of 12 VC backed. Has some experience raising money in crypto. It's fucking hard. So if anyone wants to, from a founder's perspective, and we do a little bit with Zerocap as well. So thank you for having me.
Hey guys, anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Liam. I'm from CloudTech, so this is my office. Andrew did a really good introduction. He talked briefly about what we are, but in a nutshell, CloudTech Group is a group, and under there we have a bunch of different companies. And we really look for the opportunities with blockchain to actually fix real-world problems. There tends to be a tendency in the space where people have a solution and they go looking for a problem. Like we've built a supply chain blockchain tool, but then they don't understand supply chain. So as Andrew pointed out, we have a lot of financial services professionals, so that's an area that we're looking at a lot, but we work on a couple other projects. I'll talk a little bit about Fable, which is up on the screen behind you a bit later when I do my shameless plug, but I'll leave that for now and hand over to Trent.
Does this really work?
Yeah, it connects to the camera. Yeah, maybe not too
It's like a banana.
fluffy one.
My name is Trent, and one of the founders of Zerocap, which you may know of. It's a capital markets digital asset business. I also explain it like a crypto investment bank. It's an OTC desk. We provide on and off-ramp liquidity for Australian dollars and stable coins. We're a custodian, insured custody. We manage a whole bunch of treasury for different stablecoin issuers, and also a general partner in a Web3 venture capital firm called Primal Capital. We have about 65 investments, and around the globe we're invested in about 3 or 4 Australian businesses. They're both awesome companies. So.
All right, I'm going to encourage the audience, as Mark mentioned, Aus DeFi meetups are for everyone to ask questions, learn, and network. So if you do have a question, please put your hand up and I'll come running over to you with the mic. I'm going to start with Ben. None of this has been rehearsed, by the way, so if you get some really odd-looking facial expressions, that's because of that reason. How many cycles have you been through now?
My first one was 2017, so this will be the third,
Third cycle. So what, because it's a little bit, we're in a bull run now, and it's a little bit different for me being a newbie. It's not what I expected. So can you tell me what your view is on the crypto?
What did you expect out of interest?
Oh, no, everyone was saying money's going to be flying everywhere and, 24/7.
Yeah.
And the vibe, like the energy doesn't seem to be heightened.
Yeah.
Or what I'm expecting.
It's funny, I was having a conversation. I went to Brisbane on the weekend and caught up with SwiftX, and they have obviously all the data of retail investors, and basically what they were saying was, March was obviously, we ran from $40,000 to $60,000 Bitcoin. It was their best month in 2 years, but nowhere near the peak of 2021. So from a retail perspective, there was a lot more interest, but still we're probably 1/10 of the size of where we have been in previous cycles. So I think what we've seen more recently is a lot more institutional flows. I don't need to carry on about the ETF. I think everyone's heard that, but genuinely, I think the next wave won't probably come until after all-time highs, in my opinion, Bitcoin. Sorry, not all-time highs, $100,000 Bitcoin, like a psychological level. I think once that ticks over, we'll get the retail investors come back and really pile in. With the things that happened this morning with the Biden administration, giving the green light to crypto, I think that's obviously really big. But I think it's just a little bit more professional this time around, I'm going to say. I think in previous cycles, it was a lot more chaotic. But yeah, I still think we haven't seen anywhere near where this cycle is going to get to, in my opinion.
What are your thoughts, Liam?
I don't have that much to add, to be honest. We're doing the same. This is my third cycle too. I've had the pleasure of going through cycles in different countries and sort of seeing the markets as well. This is my first one in Australia. I was in Hong Kong prior to that and China before that. I think largely I agree with everything you said. I remember in sort of 2018, 2019, the end of that bull market, that was when Goldman and a few of those guys turned up a consensus. It was like the investment banks are coming. So that trope of the institutions are coming, I think it's largely, we've seen that always retracts, right? Institutions come in. It feels a little bit different this time. I think the institutions aren't rushing in, they're coming quite slowly, and I think the regulation and ETFs and those other things are all kind of indicative of hopefully a maturation in the market.
And Trent, the news is you're moving over to Dubai.
Yes.
So can you maybe give us some reasons as to, why you're moving over there, one, and in terms of
Great question.
that's being recorded, and your view on crypto, the state of crypto right now.
Moving to Dubai because of Dubai is an emerging region which is growing faster than a lot of other sort of global regions that have more sterner regulations. And I think, fortunately, they have the equivalent of the CFTC and the SEC in one, so they can just provide really clear guidelines as to how it's going to happen. They're investing into the region. I spent time in Saudi Arabia as well, which is an hour flight, and they have a really audacious Vision 2030. And I think there's just huge opportunity there for distribution of the companies that we're investing in, because a lot of the early emerging the emerging technologies and innovations that we're investing in from a fund perspective is completely applicable to these really fast-growing regions. If you try to, and this is something that I got told in the past, it's not my line, but if you try to change the planes or the wings on a plane whilst it's flying, it's really hard. That's why Africa, the Gulf region, these regions where you can build really super innovative new technology, smart cities and all these things, that's where the next big booms are going to be. And so I'd like to be amongst that, as well as Dubai being a gateway to the world, 8 hours from most places, apart from the US, which is 13 to 15 hours. And so that pretty much summarizes my reasons for wanting to move there. Hashtag authentic. And in relation to the state of the market, really super bullish. I've been in it since 2016. I got brought over by a Venezuelan friend, and if you understand anything about Venezuela, you understand about monetary policy and inflation. And so for me, where I see the market going is primarily based on what we do with Zerocap and also the innovations that we're investing in from a Primal perspective, because we're investing in businesses that are building 6 to 12 months ahead of where we're at now. So it gives us really good insight into where the world's going. And at the moment, we're investing in a lot of infrastructure projects because you need to build that foundational layer before the consumer applications and all that's going to come, that's going to be able to bring mass adoption to Web3. But yeah, there's heaps more, but I'll pause there.
You talked about some of the newer economies like Africa and India and the Middle East. I want to ask about some of the, crypto is growing. We're at around 400 million different wallets actively trading crypto. In the last, say, 4 years, when you look at the type of new users coming into the market, can you talk a little bit about, what differences in, users are coming into the market, their perceptions or what they're trading or style of trading at all?
I can start. So my biggest takeaway is that I think people are looking at Bitcoin far more sophisticated than they have in the past. Like I think for a lot of people, it used to just be a punt. They come in and gamble, and that still happens. But I think, our client base, we have one membership tier, which is like people between $250,000. I spoke to a guy yesterday with 25 million in crypto, and the way these guys are thinking about it is more of a hedge against their other investments. They want to think about staking on Ethereum. They want to think about how stablecoins fit in their portfolio. They want to think about Bitcoin. And they're looking at altcoins as like a barbell strategy. So you're on one side, and this is the way we think of it, you've got property and Bitcoin on one side, and you've got altcoins on the other side. And it may be stocks and other things. And the fact that Bitcoin is now being spoken about on the same side as property is really fascinating. Like not even gold's outpaced inflation over the last 7 years, which is really wild. Like your opportunities to hedge against inflation and the purchasing power of your cash is very few, and Bitcoin's really on that side now, which is really fascinating. So I just think people are thinking about it in a more sophisticated way, which I love because I think that is what Bitcoin's about. And then you can hedge some other investments around that to scale your portfolio. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a marketing guy, so I think about everything from the point of view of segmentation, right? So I think you have to divide the new people coming to crypto in a few different buckets. So obviously there's retail. I think Ben's insight on retail is good. But if you think about the future of regulated crypto, what does that mean? Like, where is all the money? It's all in pension funds. And if you think about potential, everyone in Australia has super, in the US it's 401k, a diversification strategy. If you change jobs and you change your super fund, you get a form and you tick like no risk, some medium risk, high risk. That's what crypto, I think, will be for a large portion of the mass market. They won't hold Bitcoin, they won't hold Ethereum, but they will have some allocation in an ETF or something like that. So they will have exposure, largely for the reasons that Ben talked about. Then you're talking institutions, and obviously they're approaching it from sort of a grey area of uncertainty. They're hesitant to come in without regulation. So the positive moves towards regulation really supports the kind of institutional move, which I think makes us closer to mass market than ever.
Trent's got a big smile on his face.
We had a very good email exchange in the lead up to this. Trent's just avoiding his key talking points.
What? Are we talking regulation now?
Oh yeah, you can talk regulation. We were
was
talking
it?
about the different types of users coming into crypto.
Yeah, so the way I look at it is that a lot of these emerging economies, if you look at, I like to judge trends and society by generational behaviors. So I'm Gen X. I'm like a bridge between the old world and the new world. Millennials were the first digitally native generation. If you look at how many Gen Zs do we have in here? Gen Zs have, typically don't put their hand all the way up. But if you look at how they've been brought up, their neurology's been wired in a way that's connecting to very much a digital and a virtual world. And so particularly if, a lot of older generations that I talk to, when I try to help them make sense of Web3, it's like, do you have kids? Yes. Do they play Roblox or Fortnite? Yes. So these kids are playing Roblox and Fortnite, trading in-game currencies using their parents' credit cards. So they're starting to value digital assets and virtual assets very much the same, if not more, than physical world assets. Then you look at traditional purchasing behaviors of different generations. Baby boomers, Gen X, we played Monopoly, so we were putting our money in a bank buying property. What are these kids doing? They're not playing Monopoly, they're playing all these games and they're trading skins and digital assets. So when they come out, I think banks really need to get a grip on how they're going to be able to continually service younger generations, because banks are going to be outdated. Gen Zs aren't going to be walking into a bank. And so when I look at if we look at Gen Zs, average age of the African continent's 19. We've got a whole bunch of research around different countries, like Pakistan has got one of the biggest youth bulges in the world. It's actually called a youth bulge. It's not like, yeah. So you have all these countries with huge Gen Z, Gen Alpha populations and millennials. They have, and if you look at the who's banked and who's underbanked and unbanked, then you have a look at the internet connectivity and you look at who's got access to a network, then you realize that a lot of these nations, they may not have banking, but they've got access to a network where they can access a global financial market. And so I think, just wrapping this all up, is that I think a lot of these emerging economies are going to be responsible for the ongoing sustained sort of momentum of the markets. I think coming to regulations, I think is going to push a lot of projects and companies out of heavily regulated places. US is still, for us, the biggest innovator, so we've invested in a lot of US companies, but it's getting harder and harder for them. I think in Australia, a lot of companies, projects here, they've been pushed out. And so I'd love to see the regulators here do something about that.
Well, I mean, with the number of money moving and a number of consumers coming on board, it was like regulation's inevitable. But Liam, what's your thoughts on, regulation stifling innovation?
So I don't agree with Trent, for a start, on regulation. I do agree. I think it's really important to understand the origin of crypto, right? So we're talking 2018, 2019, global financial crisis, a massive exodus of quite big tech people, a lot of them from banks, going out and just going, banks are crap, excuse my language. So anyway, they went out. There's always going to be a pointy wedge at the right end of crypto, which is probably 10% of the market, which are people who don't want regulation. They know how to hold their Bitcoin. They do their own research. But that's not my mum, right? And if we want to go mass market, we need my mum. So how do we do that? So there's a whole generation of regulated entities, custodians, stable coins, all of those things that are happening now, right? Regulation clarity allows companies to move in with confidence. Companies moving in with confidence makes people feel confident, matures the whole market. There's always going to be 10 to 15% of crypto people who hate regulation, and that's fine because innovation does come from there. But, Mimblewimble was innovation, right? Where's that gone, right? Like, it's around. There's a lot of innovation that's not actually functional. It's good ideas, right?
Okay, do I get to respond?
Yes, you can respond.
So let me just preface, I'm from Zerocap, so we very much believe in regulation. We work with different groups, the central bank, the different regulators, and by all means, I love what we're doing with the regulators. If you can have an environment where it's given room to flourish, because I really does everyone know what Skunkworks is? Yeah, I'm a big fan of Skunkworks. I won't go into that, but if you ever want to look it up, it's a great division of that helped in World War II build some pretty epic, innovative jet fighter planes. But the reason they were able to do that was they were given completely free rein to let their brain just go. In terms of, I've also got a mental model. So I love free markets. I love where you have the ability to be able to go out and just create and innovate, and then regulation come in that's going to be able to protect Liam's mother and everyone else's. So I do believe that there is a place for it.
I have to respond.
Procreate.
I think Skunkworks it's a false equivalency, right? Because in a situation of war, when you're killing people, you've got to pull the gloves off, right? We're not at war, right? As dramatic as you want to get about crypto, we're not quite there yet. That's the first thing. The second thing is, again, going back to the origins of, where does regulation come from? The most clear example is you look at penny stocks in the US. So in the 80s and the 90s, phone guys would call old women in Kansas and be like, buy this 1 cent share, it's going to 10. And then regulation changed, and that doesn't happen anymore, right? So crypto is not filled with scammers, but because it's ambiguous, people who are scammy enter the space, right? People who are building, in my experience, the longer I've been in here, there's people who are really credible who are building. But because of the uncertainty and the volatility, there's a lot of people who come in. To protect the mass market, we need at least guardrails and regulations, the only way that I can see to do that.
I
Ben?
can't respond, but I mean, Ben's...
I think there's enough said about regulation.
Ben doesn't want to talk about regulation, but all the exchanges are on board with regulation.
You want me to comment?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm one fucking more regulation. We hear about it all the time, and I think the politicians and the governments will do their thing. I agree we need to protect retail investors, but I also hate the fact that innovation, especially in DeFi, is stifled because of regulation. Some of the best, DeFi projects in the world aren't able to really create what they want to create with their tokenomics and their teams, and really, truly, even in our business, we have to be so careful about what we say, so careful about, how we go about things, that at the end of the day, I'm a believer that, yes, we do need to protect people, but they are their own human, they are their own person, they can make up their own decisions. And so I don't know, I'm sort of fencing a little bit, but I fucking hate talking about regulation.
Wait, we're not going to talk about regulation anymore. There you go.
So so what's really important to keep in mind, right, is that there is no market unless the innovation takes place. So you need that. It's like the primordial spark. And then innovation comes in. But I think that there's one thing just on DeFi, right, which is going to be really problematic, that a lot of, I've been speaking to lawyers for the last few years around this, which is the Bank Secrecy Act and being able to prove source of funds. And so what I'd like to see in DeFi is there are going to be solutions where there are platforms being built which does have KYC. And because now I like when there's a market where there's everything for the individual to choose. So you have really super regulated options, there are going to be other options, and then you get to choose. But just to wind that up, I'd say that innovation for me needs to take place, and so that there is a market for you to be able to regulate, because otherwise we wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm going to move on to that dry topic. Let's talk about, all right, so there's a lot of tools out there right now that didn't exist, the first or second cycle in helping investors kind of do their own research and be able to forecast which investments are good investments. Then in comes meme coins. So I want to touch on that and get your opinion into, you know, this growing sector of meme coins, on culture and on subjectivity. What are your thoughts on meme coins at the Ben?
Yeah, so what I believe my edge is in Collective Shift and our analysts, we primarily focus on on-chain analysis, fundamentals, and sentiment. A lot of influencers online focus on TA because it's easy and you can draw a couple of charts and you can look smart, but ultimately where you find the real underlying tokens that have value is trying to find narratives before they occur. Now, if you look at what's really driven the retail or even more sophisticated investors right now, the two biggest trends have been meme coins and AI. Do either of those sectors create value within themselves? Probably not, but meme coins are an unbelievable way to tokenize culture, to tokenize the internet, and to tokenize the ability to price something that's driven by the internet. So the biggest example of that that's outside of crypto is GameStop, with the GameStop token of Reddit. We saw Roaring Kitty come back the other day and post a bunch of memes. GameStop pumps 80%. People get behind it, and then he stops posting it, and it comes down again. And GameStop is basically, people aren't buying GameStop because they think the business is going to grow. They're buying it because there's a wave of internet and a wave of culture and people online driving this thing, and that's ultimately what meme coins are. So from an investment perspective, yeah, you can make a lot of money if you get it right. There's a lot of obviously crap out there, but trying to find narratives around meme coins, like for me at the moment, looking around the US election, whether it's it's the Trump coin, whether it's Bowden, something like that. That's where I'm looking. And these things might sound more obvious than like, it's like, well, that makes sense, but like that is actually the things that are probably going to play out. So yeah, I personally don't own any meme coins. I probably might play in that field soon, but it's hard coming from such a fundamental perspective of a token and then going and looking at a meme coin going, this has literally no fundamental value, but it has internet value, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert on meme coins, so I'll leave it to these two guys, but just in broad principles, right? In a bull market, there's a move towards volatility. In the beginning, Bitcoin goes, people come into Bitcoin, but then you get to 100 grand and you're only going from 100 to 108. So if you're looking for gains, Bitcoin, you've got to move out. That's usually why Ethereum peaks a little bit later than Bitcoin in bull markets. Meme coins are just volatile, right? They're penny stocks. I'm not going to comment on them. I hold a few. At CloudTech, it's not something that we would really look at, so I won't go into any great detail, but I'll hand over to Trent.
Yeah, we actually invested in Shiba's new ecosystem token Treat. We put a decent sized check in there. And there is the reasoning behind that is we see memes as a communication platform for younger generations, Gen Zs, Gen Alphas. That's how they communicate. And so brands and brands globally are trying to figure out a way for them to be able to engage with a younger consumer base. And if you look at the whole thing around GameStop, it's those memes that you have Hodor holding the door and diamond hands. So you have all these memes that communicate a whole ideology and a whole concept within a picture. And so we saw that, and we did a whole bunch of research into memes, memetics, and just how ideas are able to pass and become viral. And we see Shiba as an ecosystem and a team by far that has the most people on the team dedicated to building out a whole ecosystem. We've been working with them on their network state as well. And then we're actually looking at another one at the moment that we might be helping take from. Well, actually, I can't comment on that. It's not just a meme token. I'm not trying to flog off memes.
Trent, I'll delete it.
Yeah, no, but this would be really dope. But yeah, so meme tokens, I also think are ways you've got a lot of disposable income. You've got millennials that have been pushed out of the property markets. They've got disposable cash. They've also got, if you're a Gen Z, you've got 40 years before you retire. So even if you lose it all, you can make that back. Older generations, as they get closer to retirement age, are like, well, fudge, I can't go lose the house on this. Young generations are thinking differently, so their investing behaviors are much different.
So SHIB and Doge I would say are now like crypto staples. But what about the
Trump's
new
like
ones?
up crazy, like the prices are up. I was looking at them after we decided we're going to talk about meme coins. I looked at the pricing. It's up a lot.
So the new ones, Ben, how are you measuring like sentiment on
Meme coins specifically?
Meme coins or maybe altcoins as well. You can tie that in.
How are we measuring sentiment?
Yeah.
Yeah, social media obviously is probably the biggest one. There's a number of tools that we use to just track different, tracking. You basically pull the API from, and we don't do this. There's a platform called Sentiment, S-A-N. Yeah, you heard of it? Yeah. So they basically track social media keywords and phrases and basically usage of the platform that's talking about different tokens, and that can definitely help. But also, we have a community of over 1,000. Pretty high net worth crypto investors that we can see what they're looking into and what they're sharing. And then honestly, like Twitter's or X or whatever you talk about, that's like however you want to say it, is kind of like that's where most of the alpha comes from. And then it's just trying to find the right narratives to get onto. But especially from March to now, it is like wildfire. Like each ecosystem has their own tokens, and then there's copycats of those, and then you have a Solana version, and now there's Bitcoin versions, and there's ETH versions of that, and fucking now Avalanche is doing their version. It's like it is basically impossible to stay across all of it. For me, I'm probably not trying to find like sub 100 mil market cap meme coins because they're probably the most risky. I'm looking at sort of the maybe 100 mil to 1 billion mark, which I think you can probably get the most returns with less risk. Yeah.
Okay. So aside from meme coins, what are some of the other projects that you guys are looking at right now? Or would you suggest?
Suggest?
No, not financial advice.
So outside of, I think Ethereum is the best risk to reward play this year. I made a pretty big investment maybe 2 months ago. I think Ethereum fundamentally has got the strongest return mechanisms with the least risk, in my opinion. So I think if you're wanting like a good return play, ETH is there. Layer 3s are an interesting one, like basically dApps that sit on top of layer 2. So one that I'm looking at the moment, well, actually one I'm very heavily invested in is called DMT, not the drug, the coin. Basically, these guys are building like a Web3 version of Twitch. So the token is the utility token that it incentivizes creators and also incentivizes viewers. And then the more content you create, the more viewers you get sort of distributed tokens. I think the intersection of AI and gaming is really interesting. So Prime is one I recently invested in. I think that's going to perform pretty well. I love DeFi. Maple is a Sydney-based company that I'm a huge investor in. Really, I think the biggest headwind for that is the SEC and the legal side, but I'm a big investor in Maple. And then I've got a few others, but yeah, they're probably my faves at the moment.
Yeah, I don't do that much speculative investing anymore. Get divorced, you have less disposable income. But I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're looking at. So we're in the NFT gallery, and people sort of asking why are we doing it. Yep. If you sit in crypto, you totally know what NFTs are. You totally get it, right? Apes go up to 40 grand, 98% of the market value is wiped out. Tie this back to GameStop. Like the one thing that made that whole meme coin discussion and GameStop seem really innocuous is like when it pumps, people lose money. Right? Like that's what we're talking about, right? Like when meme coins go up and down like this, someone's always holding the bag, right? Yes, there's profit there, but you're making it at someone else's expense. If you talk to people in the crypto space, they really understand NFTs. They understand like cartoons, NFTs, how it works. If you talk to people in the art space, they hate them. They hate them. They think it's like digital AI art, right? Like it's stealing people's IP. It's just like really derivative and not interesting. But actually, there's a lot of really interesting stuff happening in the digital art space. And if you think about that as a way to get artists into a wider marketplace and allow them to protect their IP, like through NFTs and certificates of authenticity, that's kind of where we are with the gallery. We're obviously bringing assets on-chain. That's the sort of technical piece, and Andrew's probably much better qualified to talk about that. But in terms of the gallery, yes, we're going to use this for meetups. We are going to do art shows. We're going to bring a lot of traditional artists. We've been working with a couple of artists to work on Canvas. We'll help them digitize. We're helping them sort of understand NFTs. We're taking them through the whole process. Someone asked about Fable. I won't go into too much details. I am going to invite all of you next Thursday. We have the launch event in the city. If you're interested, let me know and I'll put your name down. It's a freebie for anyone who's in Mark's DeFi Association. what we do, this goes back to first principles of the Bitcoin white paper, right? What's the point of Bitcoin? To remove middlemen? So you look for areas where middlemen have become too powerful. So for us, it's the publishing industry. Simon Harding, who's the CEO of that project, he's a writer and he's been published. He's got lots of books, so he can talk in great detail. We're working with a guy out of the UK called Gary Budden, who runs Influx Press, which is very boutique, but they've won a lot of awards. He can talk a lot about what's wrong from the publisher's perspective. Ultimately, there's someone's fingers on the scales, right? And that's the big publishers, Amazon, all of those guys. If you can disrupt even 1% of that market with blockchain, that's a significant potential revenue opportunity.
At the moment, currently looking, well, I've always been a big fan of Bitcoin. That was my first love, and so I'm looking at Bitcoin DeFi, NFTs, and that. From a fund perspective, we're looking at decentralized physical infrastructure. Do you guys know what DPIN is? Swear.
Someone that he just left. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about it? Yeah.
So we're investing in quite a bit of that at the moment, as well as I'm really interested in Sharia compliant finance options as well. So we're looking into that. Sorry? Sukuks.
That's what they call the funds, right?
Well, it depends on what the solution they're building is. So we're I'll talk about that because that's probably something that doesn't get discussed a lot. So does everyone know what Sharia compliant finance is? So basically without usury. So not being able to take interest, you need to be able to, if you are earning anything on money, it has to be because you have provided work for that. It's not just earning interest like a bank. So you've got Pakistan and Indonesia, which apparently are banning traditional financial products. And so there is just there's a market of 1 billion Muslims globally. I'm not Muslim, but I just think it's a really interesting solution that is another option in the world to the banking system. And so we're looking at a few at the moment. Tim Draper's been going pretty nuts on it because he just wants to bring the whole flipping banking system down. I'm a lot more sort of balanced. Like I just like options because I want people to have choice. That's what I'm all about. So Sharia compliant solutions for, one project I'm looking at is basically providing treasury yield for crypto companies on US treasury bills. And but they're trying to build a Sharia compliant option there. Another one from Saudi Arabia is trying to build borrowing and lending products, but that's Sharia compliant. So there has to be a certain amount of work. It just can't be just interest put on it. So I think that's super interesting. And then what I'd say, just to wrap that up, is products that are going to be able to serve emerging markets like Africa and Pakistan, India. I'm pretty interested in those. So anything that's able to scale to be able to service those regions, I'm interested in.
Cool. All right, we've got one question. I'm going to go out to. Oh, you knew it. Okay. It wasn't a question. Does anyone have a question?
Actually, I kind of have a question. I'm going to ask Ghazi, who works with me, but he's Muslim, so he can probably help me with better. Is the specific wording for Sharia compliant finance you can't earn interest, or you can't make value off the work of others?
Interest.
Okay. It's interesting because the Howey test, which used to be the old test for crypto, was literally you can't profit off the work of others, right? The language is pretty similar on those two.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty dope. There's 1 billion at the moment, which is just a completely underserved market. And so whoever builds for that, and because those regions are typically
So I'm from Bangladesh, Muslim country as well, right next to India. So my whole thing with the Sharia stuff, because this is the first time I've heard of it, would be those countries, third world countries, which is the truth. They are not very compliant with crypto and stuff because it's banned in India, banned in Bangladesh, I assume banned in Pakistan as well. So what is actually the viability and scalability of those projects?
Can I jump in a little bit?
Yeah.
So actually, one of the biggest markets for Sharia-compliant non-token products is actually out of Malaysia, right? There's two stock exchanges. The Labuan IFC, that's a secondary one. It's kind of like the New York Stock Exchange or the NYSE, the other one, right? So essentially the NASDAQ. So essentially, Labuan's one market, and obviously there's some regulation there, but you'd probably want to see more to get massive inflows. I'll hand over to Trent because he obviously knows more about this than I do.
Yeah, so in terms of regulations around it, yeah, that is a challenge, but you don't need to have a crypto token representing the platform. So you can still build blockchain-based products and products there. So for instance, one of our investments is in Facet, which is a financial super app where you can buy the top 16 crypto assets as well as your stocks and bonds, whatever you want, any financial instrument you can buy through this app. And the whole reason they came about was to service their Sharia compliant, their representative over in Pakistan, Indonesia, because in those countries you can do really interesting things that you probably couldn't do here. So they partnered with Indosat, which is one of the major telecoms in Indonesia. So the customer base of Indosat gets access to Facet's app. And so like that's the type of distribution that companies in Australia and America just dream of, having a telco partner. So you can do really interesting things like that, but you're right, in terms of from crypto, they're not there yet. But it depends on how it actually gets across, because they do need solutions that are going to be able to attend to their, what is it, Pakistan's like 300 million people. They're just going to have stagnant money sitting in a bank, losing purchasing, power like year on year. And so they are going to have to solve that for somehow.
Thank you. Any other questions from the... Yeah.
Just a bit of a general question. What's sort of like your opinion on crypto in Southeast Asia? Because I know Stables is, really focusing on Philippines. And, there's been a lot of, just sort of movement around the Southeast Asian area in terms of crypto and adoption there. Just wondering if you guys have any insights or opinions on that, just, in the next couple of years, if you see anything.
I don't know if I can project a couple of years, but let's see how I go. It ties back to what Trent was talking about, right? Banking the unbanked. It's been a buzzword in the fintech space for a long time, right? There's companies that I'm going to bank everyone in Africa. The thing is, in Africa, everyone can use their smartphone to make payments, but the rates are eye-watering. Like if you pay your electricity bill on a prepaid smartphone, you can pay 8-10%, right? If you think about $100, if you're buying $100 worth of Bitcoin, people are largely price insensitive on small amounts, right? Like you go to the restaurant, you order a coffee, it's $5, but they always charge you 1.3%, right? It's way worse for people who don't have more opportunities, right? So Southeast Asia suffers from that. So many Filipinos work overseas. I used to live in Hong Kong, right? There's 800,000 Filipinos who work there as helpers. They get paid 4,000 Hong Kong dollars a month, and they send most of that home, and they use Western Union, and they get gouged, right? So there is an opportunity with digital-backed currencies, whether that's stable coins or anything, to A, improve that process, provide options. Options drive down price. That's really important. If you look at Southeast Asia, you've obviously got Hong Kong and Singapore, who regulatory-wise have moved a long way. 5 years ago, Australia was one of the forefront governments, but we've sort of dropped back a little bit. Hopefully that will change. Singapore and Hong Kong are light years ahead of us, right? In terms of the government recognised there was an opportunity. Singapore's now investing in heaps of crypto projects. Hong Kong's regulated. Thailand has got a weird relationship with crypto. I can't really comment on it with any detail, but I know that the government is hesitant around it. You can obviously get around it. China, technically it's illegal, right? But lots of people hold crypto. Vietnam is an interesting market. Cambodia and Laos I don't know much about, but obviously it's all about opportunity and access to opportunity. If blockchain-based stablecoins provide people the ability to send money back home for less rates, it's a massive potential market. If you just look at Hong Kong, 800,000 Filipinos who get paid 4,000 a month, they're sending home 80 grand. Just work out that, right? That's a crazy volume. If you can save those people $25, $30 a month, that's a huge saving. I mean, you think $25, you're probably not that price sensitive, but if you're only getting paid $800 a month, that price sensitive is massive, but there's nothing actually in the market yet that really makes that problem is solved.
Probably to address the elephant in the room, a lot of it's just used for capital restricted countries to get their money out. I heard, spending quite a bit of time in Singapore and Hong Kong. Hong Kong is where China goes to. you go to if you've still got money in China. Singapore's where you go to when you've got all your money out of China. And so that's why China and USDT as a mechanism for getting money out on it was a lot more effective because they started cracking down on shadow banks, which was basically aggregating the $50,000 a year limit that each individual had. So you would aggregate a whole bunch of individuals and use that to send money offshore, and then USDT came in. And so that was a great mechanism. And so Vietnam's going through the same capital restricted and issues there. And so I think it's a great way to liberate your finances out of your country. So, under regulations, of course.
All right, we're going to wrap up now. So I will ask you one quick question, and you have to give me just a month and a year answer. When's the top going to be?
I'll go first if you want to. I'll just throw myself out there. I used to work with a guy called Dave Chapman, and Dave Chapman he runs OSL. He's legendary because he predicted the price of Bitcoin to within 30 days, and Bloomberg had him back 3 years in a row, and he was always pretty close. I don't have any of that. But I'm just going to work on cycles, right? A crypto bull market's somewhere between 18 months and 2.5 years, and you usually hit the main point 6 to 8 months in, so I would say early next year. I'm not going to give you a number, but we'll definitely, okay, Feb, March, April.
That's a quarter.
Okay, we'll say April, fine. To be honest, I was pretty close at the panel at ACC about amortized average increase in value, but I'm not going to tempt fate and come out with a huge number. I think it'll be early next year. I think we've still got some work to do.
All right, Trent?
So when the top's going to be? Well, I have no idea. I'm actually not a good trader at all. I'm a great investor, but I just don't sell. So on Bitcoin, when's the top? I've always sort of pinned it towards gold's market cap. So I think it's going to be half a million. I don't know when that's going to be, but I think it's going to be within the next within the cycle of halvening. So yeah, I'll just be throwing an arbitrary number out there next year. So if I'm going to throw an arbitrary one, it's 120K.
And month?
February 14th. It's like, so whilst, on Valentine's Day, hit the top.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah. Flipping giddy up.
All right, and Ben?
That'd be nice dinner. I don't know.
You must get asked this all the time.
Oh, of course. I don't know. It's like, the weatherman can predict when the weather's going to be warm next year, but he doesn't really know. Like, I think every single cycle has been, between 12 and 18 months after the Bitcoin halving event. So I think this one will be prolonged. I think Donald Trump gets elected. I think Bitcoin pumps over Christmas, and then we have a bit of a pullback next year. And then usually the 2 months leading up to Christmas is the most crazy. So I reckon it'll be November next year. We'll be somewhere pretty close. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, guys, for joining the panel.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Amazing stuff. We've got a quick little update from our friends at Take 3. Come on down, Kevin and Josiah, and then we'll do some wrap up. You can both have a mic each, actually. There you go. Thank you. So Take 3, but there's only 2 of them here, so.
Do we sit down? Do we stand up? I don't know. It's going to be relatively short anyways. Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's good to see some familiar faces, but more so new faces. It's always great to see. I'm Kevin. This is...
My name's Josiah.
Lovely. We are from Take 3 Marketing. We are a full-service marketing agency specializing in organic marketing, such things as SEO, on-site, off-site, website, email marketing, direct marketing, paid ads, so Google search ads, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the good stuff. We help with your content. We help grow your audience. What else do we do? Design. Bit of design.
A lot of design. Really good design as well.
design.
Website design, graphic design. Yeah, you name it.
Yeah, essentially we're trying to get you as many impressions to get you as many followers to hopefully get you as many sales for your company. So we've previously worked with such companies as Oz CryptoCon last year. We've got Red Belly Network.
Vematrader as well we've worked with.
Vematrader.
Yeah.
Do you want to quickly tell them about Archax?
Yeah, so our latest client is Archax. They're based in the UK. They're one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the UK. We signed them, I think, just last month. And they're the first crypto exchange in the UK to be fully regulated. So they do a lot of stuff with OTC. They've got some really cool things that going on with real-world assets. Yeah, and they're just a really great company, and we're doing a lot of marketing for them at the moment. So we've got a full-scale marketing plan that we're working with them on, and we're also. So yeah, actually, this is both in Australia and the UK. So yeah, you can actually sign up for an account, and you can actually use their website in both countries. So, but yeah, so we're also doing SEO on their website as well. That's one thing that we really specialize in. And yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of other cool stuff with them very soon. So if you want to check them out, it's archax.com, so ARCHAX. Yeah, we're going to be doing some cool stuff. And yeah, if you're interested in, if you've got a project or you know anyone who has a project in Web3, definitely talk to us after, because we could definitely help out with that.
Awesome. That's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. 1, 2 from take 3. There's the joke again. Sorry, guys. I got to do it. Hang on. All right, so this is like the wrap up. I'm just going to get the QR code on screen. 1 second. Oh, yeah. There were questions for the panel. Whoops. Oh, doesn't matter. Oh, sorry. And take 3. That's them. So you can. This is what happens when I leave my clicker in Sydney. Stables. They're doing a giveaway. I'll put that up on screen later again. BitGet. Hi, Debbie. Okay, and then Aus DeFi stuff, so if you missed it before. Anyway, so just wrap up. First of all, can we give a round of applause that everyone came up on stage? Thank you again for your time and insights. And memes. So you mentioned the study into it. It is absolutely a form of communication. You look at the Egyptians way back when, hieroglyphs, that they had, even the Romans, there were jokes on those walls and stuff. We are just lucky that we're in this stage that we are in now. If we were born 2,000 years ago, we do with the tech we had at the time and the regulations and the rules. But it was a really interesting topic and debate. I can't wait to see what the AI says about all of it. So thank you very much for a really invigorating kind of discussion. On the regulation point, the interesting thing as well is a lot of naysayers about the whole space. Like, whilst there was this debate, everyone here is on the same side. We all want to see the tech faux pas, Freudian slip there. We want to see the tech go forward in terms of making things better. We saw the internet go from what is that to, of course, we're going to have shopping on online. So all these things that are, yep.
I was just going to say, actually, I didn't say it when I was up there, I forgot, but it was something to respond to Trent. If you look at the best case example of regulation, right, in our space, what was the first peer-to-peer network with thousands and millions of users? BitTorrent. Yeah. And so what happened to BitTorrent, right? Their tech was literally early stage blockchain, peer-to-peer transmission, right? Free. It was everything that we talk about in the non-regulated part. The regulation created the streaming services, right? Because they were like, I don't want to download movies for free and get in trouble with piracy. Pay Netflix $15 a month. That's for the mass market. So in the case of Netflix, Stan, all of those guys, there is innovation there, but they're just middlemen. Yeah.
If anything you want to take away from today, death to middlemen. No. Middleman is where the opportunity is, and it's absolutely right, whatever industry you're in, because anything that's manual, not automated, paper-based, there are massive opportunities for any tech, whether it's AI or blockchain. AI and blockchain are more closely intertwined than people think. Another thing on the regulation part is that people think about, okay, regulation right now, well, what does regulation look like when blockchain is powering it? We don't even think about that. There's even more innovative stuff. We have rules and regulation, and enforcement comes after the fact because we are allowed to break the law. Not allowed, but you can. So imagine if you're not allowed to sell a wholesale security to a retail investor, right now people get in trouble because they can. But with a blockchain smart contract-based way, you're not even allowed to do it if it's done in the right way. So thinking about where the tech takes us forward is interesting. Right now, you guys, it's time to network, and there's still more pizzas there. Please finish it off. Please take garlic bread home. We're well known for people go, what are you carrying there? Oh, you must have come from Aus DeFi because they're carrying garlic bread and Domino's. So thank you very much for that. Thank you again for everyone that's come down as well as a panelist, and thank you CloudTech for the crypto sauna that we're in. So I've lost weight from running around. I hope your fitness goals have been achieved too. I'm Mark. Thank you so much. Cheers.